Kirsty TV is about the power of sharing stories that heal ourselves and heal others. My guests share their most intimate stories and lessons learned along the way. All right, we're here, ready to bake. That completes my outfit.
I use my apron as a towel. That's why I really actually do use the apron. It's not just
I may need it as a
cute.
like to stop the dribble of pie.
All right, are you ready to make pie?
I'm ready. I hear you're a rebel pie maker though. You don't usually read the recipe.
Yeah, I don't really like to measure. That's the problem. That's why I use these shakers. You know, then I can just go. And I'm going to stay one step ahead of you. I'll make a pie along with you. So 2.5 cups of flour is what we start with.
Okay.
And I'm not precise. You see, I don't level it off with a knife or anything.
It's not a cooking show, so
with your hands. And this is a wonderful experience. This is part of why I love making pie. It's the sensual, tactile experience where you really engage with your food. So you're going to pick up your pieces of fat and break them apart with your thumbs. Okay. And so fish around in there like you're panning for gold or something, and just pick up those chunks of butter. Break them apart with your thumbs, let them fall back into the bowl. Okay. And this is a very quick process. This is where I had to give my mother a lesson the other day, and she wanted to knead her dough like it was bread, and it's just really...
So don't do too much, don't
overknead it. It's the big
it.
chunks of butter that are going to make a flaky crust.
Okay.
So sift around, pick up the big chunks, break them apart.
Okay, so they should be mashed.
Okay, let me just double check, just fluff it around a little bit, pick up the big chunks.
Do I get an A?
Yeah, take that one's kind of big, so think about more like mixed nuts. In Australia, I don't know if you have, you have almonds.
We do.
Do you have Brazil nuts over there? Brazil nuts are too big. Just go for almond size.
Okay.
So
it's interesting because I would have made it like all disappear.
Good. All right, now you're good. That's as far as it goes. So that's very quick.
Stop.
All right, and then this is where I also rebel against other people's rules about add 1 tablespoon at a time and never add more than a certain amount. I'm like, well, I don't know. Just pour in a little bit at a time, and pour in enough until it.
This is water.
Yes, it's just ice water. Okay. I want it cold. And then I fluff it around. I toss it around actually like as if it's salad dressing, just a couple times. Now the idea is to let the water do the work to hold the dough together, not force. Okay, that's enough. Now add more water because you're going to have the water do the work of holding it together. So you just keep adding and then tossing and then add more and then toss some more.
It also feels very childlike.
Together.
Like I feel like a kid getting to play. Like, when's the last time that we got messy and dirty and played?
That's the funny part, too, with my students. Okay, add more water.
Okay.
Here, I can do it for you, but I think you should do it. Okay. It's your pie.
She's one of those teachers. You do it yourself, everything yourself.
Okay.
You'll feel
just
rewarded.
a little at a time. Fluff it around, and you'll see mine starting to hold together on its own. I didn't ever push it.
Oh.
I didn't.
Did you see that?
But I'm not. But still, I have lots of dry bits over here.
This is not at all how I was doing them all those decades ago.
I love that as a child.
Well, my granddad makes gnocchis. Have you ever made gnocchis?
No, I haven't.
I've got to come back and we've got to do gnocchis together.
Okay.
Because it's very similar to pie, but it's with potatoes. And it forms a dough like this, and then you roll it all out in little lines, and then you
have to cut it to make the little small bites.
It's like a big snake. But it's so much fun because it really does feel like...
Okay, make your flour mittens if it's too sticky. And then I take my wrist together and wrap my fingers around it and then spin it around into sort of a patty, a disc, if you will. Okay. And I've got 2 discs.
But can you see already the difference between the talented person and the child?
No, you can push a little bit harder to hold it together to push those wrinkles out of it.
It looks a bit more deformed.
Oh, that's all right.
Okay,
that's it. We've made pie dough. Now we're going to roll it. That was fast.
Awesome. That was fast.
Okay, so what you're going to want to do is sprinkle flour on your rolling space first.
I don't know why this is my favorite bit, but I love the feeling of flour.
Okay, now make sure it's clean too. We wiped out the water from the ice water that we poured in, and then you might want a little extra flour on top. This is what I call the insurance policy.
Okay.
And then rolling your dough, you're going to want to start from the middle and kind of go in fluid. And I'm going to try to get out of your way so you have more elbow room.
You have such a different technique.
So try not to go back and forth. It's better if you can... This looks so wrinkly. I'm going to just go prettier side. Yeah, go do some nice smooth long strokes. And you know what? Think of it like sort of riding your horse around the arena, you know. You can go around the edges if you have to, but we're going to make a round pie, so try to pay attention. Now see it's sticking, so add a little extra flour as you go, and that's a good idea too. Stop and clean the gunk off your rolling pin.
Okay.
It's really about paying attention to what's happening in front of you, which I think is a great philosophy for all of life, you know. If you just stop and solve the problem before forcing it.
Be present when you're baking pies.
So yeah, that's looking
mine
nice. Well, worry
look how big yours.
Worry more about the thickness before you worry about the size.
Okay.
So my teacher taught me you want to start to see the stripes of the tablecloth through your dough. So it's almost just a little bit translucent, but not quite.
Okay.
Now, if you've got a wrinkle like that, come around and pull it and push it until you've, manipulated it. If you
I didn't even see the wrinkle.
Oh, good. See, get lots of perfectionists in my pie class. I get really upset if there's one little crack.
I didn't know there was a thinness to pies.
Okay. And you're now starting to see the red in the tablecloth, so that's just great.
Okay.
And we're making pie in these tins because we're going to give it so that I can see that I'm compensating for the depth and for the width of the pie dish. Got it. So we're going to slice them. Go from core to core. We're going to slice around the core right into the pie dish.
Okay.
And try to keep your slices, which you're doing a great job, but try to keep them uniform in width and not too wide because it'll take too long to bake if they're too fat. But if they're too thin, then they might bake too fast and get mushy like
capture people, you think.
Exactly. Okay, so that looks good.
Okay.
Now what we're going to do, just follow after me.
Cinnamon's my favorite.
Salt.
Salt.
Cinnamon.
Salt in the pie.
Yes. I use about maybe 3/4 cup of sugar for this entire pie.
Okay.
This is where I also don't measure because I just don't go by precision. It's rough, and these are tart apples, so they need the sugar. But I'm just going to eyeball this. I'm going to use this just as a container, not as a measuring cup. And I basically just mound up the sugar, so I call it mounds of snow. So you can use as much or as little as you like, but this is about my average amount of sugar. You know what? Every pie should be unique and reflect your personality. And pie is not about perfection. It should look homemade. People should know that you made this with your own two hands. It shouldn't look like it's perfect.
Then I'm going to put a love heart apple in there because this is the pie of love.
Excellent.
Bringing in romance. Love it.
Okay, so we're ready to put the top crust on.
Nearly off the edge of the table.
That's all right. See, now I don't even need my scraper to pull it
Oh,
back.
nor do I this
But if
time.
I do, just be careful and go slow. Don't get too
cocky.
Well, I wasn't going to say that. I didn't know if that word was allowed on camera.
I don't know. But really, cocky doesn't mean that, does it?
I didn't say it.
Where does it come from? Must come from like a rooster or something.
Exactly.
Being a cock-a-doodle-doo.
Okay, look at mine's way too big. I'm going to trim, but I'm going to let it hang down a little further than yours. And if you've got any wrinkles, that that makes it look homemade. I like it wrinkly, but you can also pick it up and pull it out. Okay. Make sure it's nice and flush on top of the apples.
So cut it around there.
Yeah, then give it enough,
like a little
hangover to.
Okay.
Crimping. So we're not pinching it or folding it. We're just setting it up for a nice.
See the look of concentration.
That's all right. That's looking nice. Okay.
Intense.
So, and you want to run your fingers around the rim. I take an extra step. I dip my fingers in the bowl, thumb and forefinger on the inside, tip of the index finger vertically on the outside, staying on the rim. And now I'm working at 3 o'clock. Okay. And these don't move. This is the one index finger is your action finger, coming in with a good shove in between. Yeah. And let me.
Now, if this doesn't bring a man into my life, I don't know what will. We're going hardcore here with love pies.
And we're gonna put an egg wash on the pie to make it nice and glossy and gives it a nice golden brown finish. Okay. And this also works as glue, so this pie can breathe. So you can do whatever pattern you want. I do a pitchfork because I live in the American Gothic house. When I'm not in California, and I'm gonna carve my signature pitchfork into the top.
Oh my gosh, I can smell the cinnamon. The pies smell amazing.
Okay, yours is done.
Ta-da! That's my pie. Look at the little love hearts. Oh,
That looks fantastic.
Good job. All right, see, and then you put the knife in it to see if the apples are done.
Okay.
And then
if
they're
it's soft.
Yes, and they are. So you're good.
Wow. It's the love pie. I love it.
Thanks.
Say pie.
Pie. What an amazing afternoon it has been. I thought I was going to learn to bake pies, but I learnt that pies can really heal, build community, and connect us all together. I had so much fun giving away the pies, seeing how happy people were, and how such a simple thing that you make yourself and give of yourself can really bring people together and provide so much joy. I'll see you next time on Kirsty TV. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel below, tweet us, Facebook us, post your comments. I love hearing from you, and we'll see you next time.
I remember asking my dad if I was ever going to walk in that night, and he said, of course. And I also remember